I'm Dan Rosales, and welcome to my Night Talk, sponsored by TED. Alright, my topic that I'm going to talk about today is a form of neglect that is very common around the world. This form of neglect is called child abandonment. Now, many people have questions concerning this form of neglect. The most common one is, what mental health issues arise from child abandonment? Another question that I'm going to tackle is, at what point does giving your child freedom turn into lack of care or attention? Now, there are two types of abandonment, physical and emotional. Physically is when a parent or guardian willingly gives them up and abandons them. So they're out of the picture. Like, just not there anymore. But emotionally, I believe, is the one that hurts the most. Emotionally is when a parent, while they are there, they do not care. They do not give the love and attention a child needs in their growing state. And because of this, it can lead to mental health issues such as low self-esteem, striving for perfection, and feelings of unworthiness. These are only examples. When a child is abandoned, they start to think, am I not worthy? Why did they leave me? It's these emotions that can lead to depression, anxiety, and mental illnesses that will affect them into adulthood. Young children are deprived of physical contact with their parents. They may associate their parental abandonment with the result of something they did or did not do. Young children are egotistical, meaning they believe they are the cause of events when there is no logical connection. Now, statistics show that 32% suffer a form of abandonment and neglect. Now, this is a very high age for abused children. Here we can see the age demographic, where we can see younger than 1-year-olds suffer the most. Which is terrible because such a high percentage, 32% among that age demographic, carries on with them along their life, which brings us up to our next topic, adulthood. When adults are abandoned as children, they bring a lot of issues with them. Basically, they repeat the cycle of abandonment. Now here we see the 5 stages of abandonment, which normally as adults follow throughout as they get older in relationships or children. Step 1, fear and intimacy. When they get into a new relationship or have their own child, they become afraid. They'll do the same thing their own parents did as when they were kids, either physically abandon them or emotionally. And they don't want anyone to suffer the way they did. So they have 2 options. They either abandon that relationship, which does the exact same thing their parents did, or they try to break the cycle. Now, they're not proud of what happened with their kid. Which you can see, they still blame themselves for what their parent did. They still have feelings of self-worth, doubt, along with anxiety, depression. They're afraid they can't care for their child or their spouse or partner, whoever they're with. It's that fear that drives them to abandon someone they love, which leads to early abandonment. They cut off all ties or try to distance themselves and have no heart for who they love. And comes the shame and insecurity. They feel they aren't worthy. They get rid of all those feelings of happiness because they feel they do not deserve it, because it's their fault for what happened when they were a kid. All the feelings of what abandonment brings, all the mental illnesses and issues. Now, they can break the cycle. All it takes is a little rehab, therapy, and they can start to let go or start trusting their own spouses or children. Now, they can break the cycle. All it takes is a little rehab, therapy, and they can start to let go or start trusting their own spouses or children. Now, there are arguments that emotional abandonment isn't real. They'll argue it's just parents' tough love, or they're giving their children a dependence. But the truth is, it becomes abandonment when the child wonders why they're not good enough. It becomes abandonment when they're alone thinking in their room, why am I alone? It's these thoughts a child should have that affects them for the rest of their lives, especially when they go into adulthood. They cling on to relationships, worried about their partners or their child's actions. Like this toy elephant, it goes away if it is destroyed. Abandonment isn't something to joke about. It's a serious issue that happens around the world daily. And because of that, it should be advertised and criminalized if it does happen to some people. Often there's a difference between why people are abandoned, whether it's social issues, economic, or they're very poor. They don't have the necessities to take care of their child. In the end, all children deserve to be loved. I'm Daniel Ravon, and thank you for coming to my night talk. Now enjoy these pieces of tunes.